Hey everybody, it's Chase with AV Pop Culture again, and as the year winds down, I want to talk about something that truly, really helped build this channel: physical media. Now, longtime viewers know most of my physical media content now lives on Patreon, or it gets saved for special event videos like the upcoming AVA Pop Culture Movie Awards, the inaugural big event happening Friday, January 2nd, where we'll crown the best 4K of the year, best studio 4K release, best boutique, and so much more. But before we get there, I wanted to do something a little different, because every year there are exceptional 4K restorations that do not get the spotlight they deserve. If this is your first time following me on physical media stuff, I am a filmmaker for over 2 decades. I worked in film preservation, film restoration, all of that kind of stuff. So I love a good 4K restoration. And today we are going to count down and kind of loosely rank the 25 best demo-worthy, reference quality 4Ks that have kind of been overlooked. We get a lot of videos on 4Ks that are popular, big titles that have caught the hype train in a positive way or a negative way, but there are so many great 4K restorations that are just as good or better than a lot of those, and people just don't talk about them. Well, we are going to fix that here today. I have 25 of the best 4K restorations of 2025 that nobody is talking about, but they are must-owns. So pop that tape in. I got you. Let's go do this. All right, so most overlooked great 4Ks of the year, and I'm going to ask you to bear with me. I got the flu for Christmas this year, and I'm still trying to get over it, so if I sound a little different, I do apologize, but I wanted to get this video out in preparation of the big AVA Pop Culture Awards later this week. We're going to jump right into this list. I will supply links on Amazon or wherever you can find these if you want to add them to your collection and check them out. And of course, that helps the channel too. That's not why I'm doing this. These are great films and just outstanding 4K restorations that deserve some spotlight, starting with Spawn, the 4K from Arrow Video. It's a flawed movie, but I've always enjoyed it. A late 90s sort of comic book artifact, a very hard R on the director's cut here. And Arrow dramatically improves the contrast in this movie and stabilizes the image. And a lot of people were worried about how those old early CGI effects would hold up. This doesn't stand them out as making them look worse. They don't look great. They were early on CGI. That doesn't bother me. It marks the time, but the shadow detail, the dark detail in this, is just obliterates any release that came before it. Without question, the best this film has ever looked. Spawn from Arrow Video comes in at number 25. Now, next up on the list is one that you probably don't think about when you think about 4K restorations, because it's not a movie that would normally just like blow you away with 4K, but I'm talking about Paramount's 4K release of Clueless for the 30th anniversary. This is a textbook catalog 4K restoration upgrade, fine grain. It has that filmic look to it, bright but very accurate colors, so they didn't do a bunch of over processing to try to make this pop. This is clean, confident in its restoration work, and it respects the original cinematography of the film and captures it better than you can see. It's loaded with extras, a steelbook, all that kind of stuff. Clueless, nobody talked about it. I get it. It's just a comedy from back then, the 90s. Very relevant and still holds up today, and the 4K restoration hopefully will bring it to a lot more new fans because it looks outstanding. My daughter and I watched this. She's 13 and a half. She absolutely loved it. I highly recommend Clueless. Great job by Paramount on that 4K. Now, next up is a Western, and it is one of my favorite all-time Westerns. It's written by Lawrence Kasdan, and if you don't know who, and directed by him, and if you don't know who that is, he wrote Empire Strikes Back, okay? If he never did anything else in the rest of his life, that would be enough, but he also wrote some of the Indiana Jones films. So Lawrence Kasdan, also The Big Chill, he knows what he's doing, and one of my favorites all time, and a great Sony Pictures 4K restoration, is Silverado. Not really sure why this one is under discussed as a 4K. The grain in here is beautiful. Westerns lend themselves to 4Ks really good. The HDR makes all those colors in the landscape pop. Deep colors the way I've never seen it before. And this movie I've seen a whole lot. I really enjoy this movie. Just an outstanding cast, and I love Kasdan as a writer, director. Sony quietly delivered a just top of the line reference quality 4K here with this steelbook, a great price. I'll link it down there. High recommend on this. And of course you get a Blu-ray backup copy in there. Lots of features, everything. Silverado comes in at number 23. Could be higher. All of these on this list are demo to reference quality. I don't care what anybody says. They are. This one is way up there. Silverado. Now, the next one up was actually released by two boutiques this year. It's the same restoration, but I have this one, and it's the same restoration, so it really doesn't matter. But I am talking about Thief from Criterion on 4K. Michael Mann's debut here. Now, I'm a big Mann fan of a lot of his movies, but probably The Keep is my favorite of his with Thief. I mean, he's got a lot, but I love his cinematography. You're going to see I am working on a master list of some of the greatest shots and cinematography in film history. You're going to find Michael Mann on there. You're going to find a couple shots from Thief. In the 4K, absolutely knocks those out of the ballpark. This thing looks like it was intended to. I am a sucker for neon lights in film, lighting, streets, wet pavement, all that kind of stuff. Rain cinematography is just one of my favorite things ever. And the deep blacks here that retain all that detail with the neon lights and the reflection, the nighttime texture, the haptic nature of that. And I'm going to get into that in another video. This is film preservation and restoration without revisionism. This is a museum grade restoration right here with Thief. Outstanding work with Criterion 4K right here. Thief comes in at 22. Now 21 is one that, listen, Scream Factory, Shout Studios, they've had a tough year as far as transition, but make no mistake, they are at the top with Vinegar Syndrome as far as doing the best 4K restorations in the business, with Arrow just a tick behind them right there. They just don't do as many of their own. But one that's overlooked, and some people talked about it, they didn't appreciate the quality when this came out. They're wrong, period. And that is Night of the Creeps. This Scream Factory 4K is a cult classic that has been elevated to demo quality here. Sharp, but not scrubbed, not DNR'd, vibrant, but still natural. Proof that horror, cult horror, deserves premium treatment right here. This one thrills me, and it is absolutely awesome. It is above and beyond the original Blu-rays and stuff like that. I have them both. I've compared. This kicks it up. I'm sorry, it does. If you want the extra different ending, it's on here. They don't give both whole versions, but you can get it. Outside of that, there's nothing to complain about. This is an outstanding 4K. Night of the Creeps comes in at 21. Now, next up on the list is another one from Arrow Video, and it is another cult horror film that is just an absolutely loaded 4K disc right here, and a great restoration considering the elements that they had to work with on this, and that is Larry Cohen's The Stuff. Now, I'm a big fan of The Stuff, always have been. I even just got a actual cup of the stuff for Christmas, and I absolutely love it. But Arrow here balances out getting more clarity with the 4K restoration, but still kind of preserving the handmade sort of feel, the cinema verite kind of textures to this movie. This is exactly how cult cinema should be treated and represented with 4K restorations. It is absolutely loaded. You have a work cut of this. It's like 30 minutes or so longer. This thing is just absolutely loaded. This way overlooked this year, and it's a travesty because this is so good and there was so much work put into this. High recommend. Entertaining satire of a horror film that hits maybe even harder today and is more relevant than when it came out. The Stuff comes in at number 20. Now, the next one I actually just have on my list here. I have one, but I want to mention two from Hammer Films. They have started their own boutique, restoring their own stuff this year, and there are two that are going to share this spot, and they're just absolutely outstanding, massive releases of Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter, and The Curse of Frankenstein, which actually might beat out this. And these are massive 6-disc sets with all kinds of different aspect ratios and cuts, and just these are long overdue restorations. And the colors, the costume detail, the gothic lighting in both restored the way they should. These feel like rediscovering Hammer classics for a whole new generation. And yes, they're a little on the pricey side, around $65 or whatever, but you're getting 6-disc sets with more extras than you could possibly imagine, and frame by frame restoration work, then on high-end scanners. Just incredible detail, incredible work. Of course, Curse of Frankenstein stands on its own. You know about that as a Hammer classic. But if you don't know about Captain Kronos, think if Captain Jack Sparrow met Robin Hood, met Blade hunting vampires. Like, I don't really know. It's a little silly, a little funny, lots of action and swashbuckling adventure. Just great work here by Hammer Films on these two movies. They share the spot here at 19. I high recommend. I don't think you can get the big box set of Captain Kronos anymore, but I still believe you can get Curse of Frankenstein. High recommends. Great work by Hammer Films in their first year out. All right, now the next one is one that I would normally never put on a list like this because it was shot digitally. And not that I'm against digital cinematography, that's how I have to shoot, okay? But when you shoot in digital 4K or better, it should look great. It's not a lot of restoration work that needs to be done, right? You're already shooting it at as high a level. You're just trying to maintain that quality and put it down onto a disc. So these people get really excited about 4Ks of new movies that were shot with in 4K or 6K or 8K. That's like starting a marathon at the 26-mile mark. There's not a lot to be done there. Those should all look great without question. However, some older digitally shot stuff, that's a little bit different story, because now they have the ability to bring it to you the way, and the only digitally shot one on this list is from Second Sight, and it's The Nice Guys. First of all, it's an incredible packaging here, but yes, digitally shot, but undeniably improved in a way that, like, look, Ghostbusters Afterlife or something like that, or Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, shot in 4.6K, delivered to you in 4K or the Ultra HD version of 4K. All they're doing is just compressing it down a little. They don't have to go back and save color or anything else. That's not the same story with some older digital stuff like this. Better contrast, more refined color grading, and a much superior compression and more room to breathe on a big disc. And then you get all of these extras and everything, a hardback book, incredible artwork. Shane Black, I'm a big fan. This is the definitive presentation of this film. No question about it. A super high recommend and a very underrated film. Great work here on an older digitally shot film. Got to pick it up. The Nice Guys, a high recommend from Second Sight. Now, the next one at number 17 is actually a double feature, and it came sold that way, and nobody has talked about this. Now, spoiler alert, you're going to see these movies probably on an upcoming Ultimate Sword and Sandal ranking video that I'm going to do. But the Scream Factory double feature 4K, this is 2 4Ks for the price of one here, of Deathstalker and Deathstalker 2. These look better than they have any right to look. Pure drive-in sword and sorcery, sword and sandal, restored honestly. The beautiful film grain that's there. I'm a film grain lover. I'm a cinematographer, filmmaker at heart, and old school cinema just so pleasing to the eye. And I'm going to do a whole video on why films look different now. And it's not just that they're shot digital. There's a lot of things. But when you're watching something like this, you feel the cinematography much more. Colors are bold. There's zero modernization of this. They didn't do any of that kind of thing. This is genre kind of trash cinema preserved with pure love. This is full of sword fighting and action and magic and nudity and loincloths and all that kind of stuff in pristine 4K demo quality. Both films are fun. Check it out. High recommend 2 for the price of 1. Lots of extras here, just loaded to the gills here. This is a 4-disc set. High recommend Deathstalker and Deathstalker 2. Nobody's talking about them. Now, I feel like number 16 people talked about when it first came out, and then it just kind of got forgotten about. And I don't want this company to be forgotten about because I want to see them do more 4Ks. It is TerrorVision Films' Rumpelstiltskin 4K. This is a deep cut that also has no right looking this good, but TerrorVision Films, they're a very small company. I think they're based here. They're in Georgia. I think they're in Savannah, Georgia. I think they have somewhere in Chicago as well. Listen, I am proud of the work they did on this movie. Image stability, vastly improved detail on this thing while respecting the budget. I mean, this is boutique preservation, small boutique preservation at its best. You got a soundtrack in here. It's an absolutely loaded 4K set right here. A fun, ridiculous, dark fantasy horror movie along the lines of Leprechaun. And just the craftsmanship and the care that went into this is next level. Rumpelstiltskin from TerrorVision Films. Great 4K. Now, the next one is one nobody talked about because, again, people love to kind of dump on Scream Factory, even though they paved the way for a lot of stuff. And they scored with a big Arnold Schwarzenegger film this year, and they did it all the way upright. It is End of Days on 4K. Late 90s darkness, that whole Arnold versus Devil in the dark, gritty, grimy streets, handled properly. Improved darkness, shadow detail, the grain is preserved, and it has way better contrast. I had the DVD and the Blu-ray. I'm a huge Arnold fan. This is a major upgrade. This one actually kind of blew me away. Now, I covered this and showed video of this on my Patreon because when I got this thing, I was like, holy moly. People are not talking about how good this 4K is. This is an outstanding restoration and a much better movie than people kind of give it credit for. I think it's aged beautifully, even though it has a lot of 1999 world-ending thing going on. End of Days, you can't go wrong. Arnold 4K preservation, restoration, done right by Scream Factory. End of Days comes in at 15. Now, the next one is another one by Scream Factory, and this is a Robert Zemeckis film that stars Michelle Pfeiffer and Harrison Ford, and nobody's talking about this restoration. This is another one that I covered on the channel, I think, before I stopped doing that and put them on Patreon. But What Lies Beneath is subtle, restrained restoration and HDR done right. No artificial sharpening on this, no noise reduction abuse or anything like that. No oversaturating colors to give it the illusion of more pop or anything. Just excellent quality. Now that goes back to excellent filmmaking behind it. But a good film, very almost Hitchcock style kind of thing. I don't know. But I think an underrated haunted house kind of thriller here that just benefited from some loving touch and 4K restoration, and that HDR makes this one pop. Especially you get things that are underwater, these kind of things in the house, and steamy, and all kinds of, you got flowers outside, beautiful setting. What lies beneath a great 4K done by Scream Factory. Now we're in to number 13. It's kind of fitting that 13 is here. It's Arrow Video 4K of Creepshow 2. Now, when this first got announced, there was a lot of talk because a lot of people said that they didn't care about upgrades in quality because they were angry that Arrow put this in the same packaging, the same 4K box set, the same artwork. They didn't change anything. You know, a lot of people talked about it then, but it was, well, it's just because it's just an upgrade in quality. Who cares? Well, that's the whole point, first and foremost, is the upgrade and preservation of the films and the restoration of them. So I was on the hype train of this is great that we're getting this in 4K. And then suddenly, when it came out and people saw that it wasn't just a little uptick in quality, it was a big uptick in quality, and people started getting sent this for review for free, a lot of attitudes changed. Well, I was right there in it from the beginning, and I reviewed this on my Patreon. This is incredible 4K restoration right here by Arrow Video. Yes, they didn't give you a bunch of new features or anything else, but this is restoration that needed to be done to preserve this film in its best quality. It's often overshadowed by the original, and that's an incredible 4K as well. But the color depth, the grain, the filmic quality here, the practical effects just sing in 4K. The raft scene, the glitters on the water, the textures, everything. This is horror anthology with prestige treatment. Don't let anybody put you off of this movie because it has the same artwork, or don't let them oversell you because they got it for free. I buy all these things. I get nothing for free from anyone. And I put my name behind recommending this because it is a worthy restoration. Creepshow 2 comes in at number 13. Now, number 12 is one that I just got for Christmas. My mama got it for me for Christmas, so she did really good on picking stuff out for me. And this is from Imprint Films. And when I tell you this one could be contender for 4K of the year, it's not an overstatement with Twins of Evil from Imprint. Man, the rich reds, the deep, deep blacks, and crisp gothic detail in this one I love. So this is Hammer horror at its most visually striking. This is part of the Karnstein trilogy right here. This is a notoriously sort of raunchy, nasty, sleazy, I guess, entry. You have the twin actual Playboy playmates who play in this, and one is seduced by evil and vampires, and you got Peter Cushing as a badass chopping off heads, and everything is just, it looks like a live painting coming to life and moving before your eyes. I don't think that I can oversell this, and of course, you know, Imprint does a great job with these prestige packaging and everything. You can get the standard. I'll link what I can down here. There was a beautiful Synapse Blu-ray that I didn't think could get any better because it was from a 4K scan. I was wrong. It got that much better, okay? Because this is a full painstaking restoration here. Cannot recommend this enough. Twins of Evil comes in at 12. It could be higher, y'all. We're splitting tiny hairs here at this point. Twins of Evil. Now, number 11 is one that I'm shocked that people haven't talked about more. There was a buzz about it when it came out, and then I'm seeing people put their 4Ks of the year out. Nobody's talking about Lethal Weapon from Warner Brothers. So Warner Brothers does a lot of catalog 4Ks, and hopefully they sell to Paramount and not Netflix, because Netflix is going to stop giving us physical media, and Paramount will put it out. But I'd rather them not sell at all, but make sure we continue to get physical media in this kind of great quality, finally done right, grain preserved, zero DNR, it's not excessive DNR all over the place, a reference point catalog upgrade, one of my favorite movies of all time. Of course, Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, they're too old for this, or at least Danny Glover was, although I think I'm older than him now at that age. But you get the extended director's cut loaded with extra features here, some stuff on Richard Donner, one of my favorite all-time directors. But this 4K it's subtle but so elevated over anything else. Great packaging here with this release. Now you can get the Steelbook, you can get the same 4K. I'll link it down there. Incredible. I'm not sure why more people aren't still talking about Lethal Weapon. Now we are in the top 10. I think some of these may surprise some of you, but starting at number 10 is another Arrow Video 4K, Jason Goes to Hell. Now, a lot of people kind of have stopped talking about it because a lot of people don't like this movie. I think they're wrong. I enjoy this movie. I see exactly what they were going for. I think it's one of the better Friday the 13th movies made, but the amount of practical effects in here that just sing in this 4K. This is an immaculate restoration right here, and a very underrated movie. I get that it's divisive. I don't know why, but the color accuracy, the detail, the consistency, fully restored, top tier technical work right here on this 4K. I mean, I swear I saw, of course you get the unrated cut, but I swear I saw details in here and practical effects that I had never seen before. This is an incredible 4K, high recommend. Jason Goes to Hell comes in at number 10. Now at number 9, we're going back to Scream Factory again, and this is one that I reviewed on the channel. You can find the whole review here, and this is John Carpenter's Vampires. This legit could be a contender for 4K of the year as far as the restoration goes, because what are the two genres that probably benefit the most from 4K restoration are Westerns and horror films, and this is both. You get the sun-drenched, sort of bleached grit and grime, all intact, but the colors just leap off of your TV. The texture, the shadow, the increased detail, no smoothing here. This feels properly cinematic, and that is an understatement. They're anti-hero gunslingers. It's a Western horror is what it is, and an incredible 4K. Now, number 8 is another one you wouldn't expect to be in this conversation. But what Vinegar Syndrome did with Dirty Work is ridiculous. Now, a lot of people don't like the shaved, guy's chest on here or whatever. You can go with this artwork on the inside. But no matter what you think about the artwork, the 4K is one of the year's biggest surprises here. Super sharp, just super colorful, but stable. It's not like it's all over the place. It's super filmic, especially for a comedy. It is. I really don't know. All comedies deserve this level of care. And while a lot of people this year are talking about Uncle Buck and things like that, that's a good restoration. This is next level right here. The colors in this are, I thought maybe I'd turn my saturation. It just, they are it's live. It's like looking through a window. And Dirty Work, just a funny ass film and a great 4K. Now, the next one is another Sony Pictures. Listen, Sony does great work. Now, when I compare boutiques or labels of the year, I separate studios from actual boutiques, because that's comparing apples to oranges. Studios have unlimited access to their own library, unlimited funds. Boutiques have to go out and try to license stuff, so they can only get what they can get in whatever condition it's in, and then they got to do all the work themselves. It's a completely different thing. But when Sony does something, they do it right. And this one is reference quality, A Knight's Tale. Bright, bold. It is so much brighter than the original, any kind of version you could have gotten out there. Shockingly clean, but not DNR'd. You got the medieval colors and castles and all that kind of stuff and horses. The HDR enhances all of that. The costumes, all that stuff, and scales it up without being artificial in any way. Just an excellent reference quality studio upgrade. The sound on a lot of these, I'm talking picture right now with all of this stuff. But I've listened to all these on my Atmos and stuff that has it, even that don't. There's nothing wrong with audio in any of these. Same thing here. A Knight's Tale, such a cool soundtrack too, kind of subversive, but a great 4K restoration. Now, when you want to talk about looking through windows because something looks so good, it looks like you're looking through a real life window. This is another one that I covered on the channel, my monthly Vinegar Syndrome. I'm a Vinegar Syndrome subscriber. This is my first year. I do my unboxing. I show what I get each month and the subscriber cost of that. And then now I do my 4K reviews on my Patreon. But this one was still living on the channel, and that is Drop Zone. This is Vinegar Syndrome's cinematograph line. And holy moly, was I not expecting this to be so good. Peak 90s action, beautifully restored, grain, color, all that kind of stuff, but the depth of the image. There is an opening. If you need to see nothing else, go to my video on that. Just search Vinegar Syndrome in my videos. You'll find where I did the review of this, and I put footage up of the beginning. Opening credits, it's just showing different scenery, and it shows an alligator coming down a grass bank into some water, and it looks like you could just touch him. It's mind-blowing. Just a simple shot looks so good, and the whole movie is that way. Vinegar Syndrome made their bones in film restoration and preservation. This shows why. Cinematograph line, Drop Zone, Wesley Snipes, you can't go wrong. You can still pick this one up. It comes in at number 6. I have a very precarious stack over there. Now, staying with Vinegar Syndrome is another one. People complained about this movie. People said this movie flopped. Why would they put this movie out? Well, we're going to clear up some things right now, but nothing cleared up better than the 4K restoration of The Golden Child. Listen, warm, filmic, popping colors. You get a lot of colors like this and the Tibetan sunsets and all this kind of stuff. Just dramatically improved. Now, I'm a big fan of Eddie Murphy. I grew up during this time, so I've seen this movie in every way possible. It fixes a lot of long-standing home video issues with the tone because they have such dynamic colors in this movie. But this looks so good, and it doesn't hurt any of the effects in it. And people poo-pooed this release, and they said, why is Vinegar Syndrome putting out this? It's a flop of a movie. Well, actually go back. I believe this movie had like a $19 or $29 million budget, and it made like $186 million in like 1986. So that's the equivalent of having like an $80, $90 million budget and making $500 or $600 million. This is not a flop. This was not a flop. This was actually a big hit. It's just maybe not as big as like Beverly Hills Cop or something like that. But it was a big hit. And this thing, you got Charles Dance in here playing basically the devil's right-hand man. This is a very, very well done restoration. I say own it before it's sold out. They got like a couple thousand of these left. I'll try to link it. Amazing 4K. Now, the top 4, and I think 4 is going to surprise a lot of people, but honestly think, and I did a full review of this on the channel, you can still find it with footage. I actually think that number 4 is a contender for best 4K restoration of the year, and that is Arrow Video's restoration of Cobra. Pure canon excess of a film, and Warner Brothers combined kind of on this, but this thing is preserved and restored perfectly. Grit, contrast, texture intact, cult action done right. When I go back to that whole neon vibes and wet streets. This is basically a slasher action film that takes place around Christmas time. So you get Christmas lights, you get neon lights, you get beautiful film montages. A lot of people are like, oh, this movie is like a music video. No, it's not. We had a lot of, almost every movie in the 80s and 90s to a certain point had a montage, a getting ready montage, a training montage, some kind of montage, all right? And this is no different, but it looks amazing. And there's a scene where Stallone fights guys outside on rooftop of his apartment building, and it's lit by like a giant neon Pepsi sign. Looks incredible. No right to look that good. The only complaint I have is this should have been an Arrow big box because it's so loaded with extra features and everything else, and it is such good quality. And Sylvester Stallone, an underrated movie. I would love to see a sequel of this one. That's my only complaint, and that's just about the box. There is no complaint on the 4K because it is so damn good. It is contender for 4K of the year as far as restoration work goes. You can't go wrong. You can still grab Cobra. I'll link it. Incredible film, fun, action, great for horror fans, action fans, 80s fans, Stallone fans, and great if you just love a great 4K restoration. It comes in at number 4. Now, at number 3 is one that got way overshadowed, and this one comes from Lionsgate Limited, which is sort of a new boutique on the horizon this year. But the truth is, it's still Lionsgate as a studio. They just decided to do their own little side label. So it's still a studio label, but Lionsgate Limited's restoration of Jackie Brown, contender of 4K of the year. Any of these from this list might have a nomination in my upcoming AVA Pop Culture Movie Awards. But Jackie Brown is next level. Even my wife, who knows nothing about movies, despite me being a filmmaker, she knows nothing about movies. We watched this movie, and she was gawking at it, how good it looked. Just unbelievable, right? It is that good. It got overshadowed by like the Kill Bills and all this other stuff. No. This is one of the best restorations I've ever seen. Wide open, but still restrained, filmic, respectful of the original. It's got cool colors because when it took place, all the natural colors, a model of how to do restorations. Jackie Brown's absolutely incredible and a underrated film in Quentin Tarantino's library. Comes in at number 3. Now, number 2 is kind of an odd duck because it's been released by 2 boutiques. Now, the first boutique, Imprint, they told you how they restored it, and they worked with Studio Canal, but they did a lot of restoration stuff themselves. They tell you each one of the restoration houses, how it was done frame by frame, everything else. And then Kino Lorber, and that came out December of last year, but most of us didn't get it in hand until this year. And then Kino Lorber released it in the United States with the same restoration. So this is an Imprint Films restoration, but Kino released it this year. But I'm going to kind of credit them both because if you buy from either, you're going to get the same restoration. And that is Convoy. And I have gone on record, I've reviewed this. This is one of the top 2 or 3 restorations I have ever encountered in my life. And it's that good. The big wide open cinematography of this film finally has room to breathe. This is Sam Peckinpah. Chris Christopherson is badass in here. A great soundtrack. Excellent clarity in this while retaining all that film texture. Collaborative restoration done right, and they tell you every step of the way who did what, the amount of hours. It's like 346 people spent over 1,000 hours color grading and working on that, like the restorations alone. Okay, this thing, it shows. We're about to go hunting bear, rubber duck. One of the best 4Ks I've ever seen right here. And Kino brought it to the United States, but you can get the Imprint or the Kino version, but get one because it's incredible. And number 1. I can't believe that I have number 1 over this, but I actually reviewed them again. And you talk about movies that have no right to look this good. It's Scream Factory's restoration of Humanoids from the Deep. A notorious sleazy horror film, beautifully restored and preserved. Practical effects, detail out the wazoo. The creature effects in here still hold up. Maybe because most people don't know this, but they were done by a very young, pre-The Thing, Rob Bottin. And the nighttime shots in this, the clarity, the color depth, beautifully restored. This is exploitation horror cinema treated like film history, the way it should. And I taught film studies and film production. This has it all going on right here. Maybe the most overlooked 4K restoration that I have ever seen, that is just next level A++++. Incredible. You can sometimes find this on Amazon as low as $15-16 or less. I think it dropped down to $12 on a sale. I'm going to link it because everyone should own it just to have that piece of history. It has got tons of features, all that kind of stuff. There are night scenes at a carnival with lights and everything else. You're mixing seaside town cinematography, nighttime creature effects, cinematography, and practical effects with carnival lights and listen, and fires. This thing has everything you need to show off a 4K, and it does it in perfect manner. I cannot recommend this enough. If you're just a fan, I don't care if you don't like horror movies, you don't like exploitation cinema, you don't like Roger Corman, none of that stuff, you don't care about Rob Bottin and those kind of effects. If you just care about owning a piece of film history and film cinema and preservation done right, Humanoids from the Deep, it sounds like I'm overselling it. Nobody gives me anything. I'm just telling you from my educated opinion, my professional opinion, and an opinion as a fan, I've seen very few better than Humanoids from the Deep, and that's why it comes in at number 1. So yes, that is my top 25 best, most overlooked 4Ks of the year. People aren't talking about these. Everybody keeps going to the same ones over and over again. They're going to your Ninja Turtles, which is great. They're going to like your new stuff like F1. I love that director. It's shot digitally. It looks great. It should. They're going to the Beyond and all of these big things. I mean, I could mention The Keep from Imprint, but that is the same restoration that Vinegar Syndrome did the year before in December, so it's also walking right that line. Still one of the best restorations I've ever seen. I could mention that. People are mentioning a lot of the obvious ones and the big ones and the big names that have gotten the hype train. They've hit their algorithm amongst people, I guess is how you could say it. But there are so many that are overlooked. But that's just a testament to how powerful physical media is, and that it is not dead, and that it is important, and we're getting lots of restorations. You got Constantine was a great 4K restoration this year. There are so many. I could look around and see. And of course, this doesn't even touch on my ones that are going to be nominated for the best of the year, but they've been talked about so much you can't file them in overlooked, right? So there are a lot. If you didn't see them here, it's because they're not overlooked. Everybody's talking about them. These are ones that people aren't talking about, and that should just tell you where we are with 4Ks and how good they are doing. And I hope this helps you out. I'll link everything that I can down there, and get ready for my big AVA Pop Culture Awards. Friday night, January the 2nd, I am going to schedule it as a premiere. That way we can live chat along with each other as the video goes live. And of course, I'll have videos at least on Wednesday and Thursday this week if I can. And I'm probably going to do a live stream on the 30th. So I have such huge videos planned for you guys. Deep dives, real filmmaking stuff, pop culture stuff, nostalgia, all of that. And of course, if you want more physical media, there'll be some sprinkled in here, but 99% of it is available on my Patreon. That link is down there. It's a couple bucks a month at the minimum. And you can do my YouTube channel membership too, but I would caution you, I've been hit on there trying to do reviews, and I can't really risk it because I like to show a lot of footage of what I'm talking about. So you're not going to get quite as much there. and YouTube takes a lot of that, but you know, being a YouTube channel member or a Patreon member, you're going to get your name and lights on every single video, and behind the scenes looks at my filmmaking, all this physical media stuff, and so much more. Hauls, behind the scenes looks at my life, all kinds of stuff. And you know, I just love sharing all of that with you, and it's so much fun. I'm telling you, I have big things. I'm working on the 100 greatest movies of all time list. I am working on lists of the greatest cinematography horror films, 80s films, 90s films, films of all time, cinematography, the best shots in movie history, the best monologues in movie history, big deep dives on movies that raised us, all kinds of stuff coming up. And I hope you will stay here, like and subscribe. It really helps me out, and help consider supporting the channel. That helps a lot too. But until next time, be kind, rewind like always. It's Chase with AV Pop Culture, and I'll see you real soon. Mama? I know.